Hey, what's up guys? It's Mario here with Junkremovalmoney. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about the fundamentals of SEO and why it is important to have good SEO in order to grow your dumpster rental business. This is something that is overlooked by a lot of people, and you do not have to be spending money on ads every single month in order to grow your business. This is actually a much better way to grow your dumpster rental business, and there's actually a lot more work on this side of things. If you didn't know, not everybody clicks on Google Ads. It's only about 20% of the population, so you're leaving another 80% of the actual searches happening in your local area up for grabs for other people to take. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to capitalize on that other 80% so that you can grow your dumpster rental business in your local area. So when we're talking about SEO, specifically Google SEO, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about how the website itself ranks in the local organic rankings, as well as the Google My Business listing. The Google My Business listing is a free listing that everybody should have. And if you haven't set one up yet, please watch my video. I will have it linked somewhere up here or down below in the description. It is really important that if you haven't set one up yet to watch the video, because it will explain the fundamentals of how to set one up properly to gain the proper momentum. A lot of people make mistakes when they first set up their Google My Business listing, and it could cost them a lot of traffic. So please watch that video if you haven't already. And there might actually be some changes that you could make to your Google My Business listing. So if you already have one, you should probably go ahead and watch it anyways, just to get some ideas and a better understanding of how Google My Business actually works. So now that you understand that there are two parts to Google, which is the website and the Google My Business listing, they both rank separately, but they also help each other rank better. So what I mean by that is, if you have a Google My Business listing that isn't attached to a website at all, it could be affecting the listing to not rank as well as it could. Vice versa, if you have a website that doesn't have a Google My Business listing, you're missing out on the people that click on the Google My Business listings because they want to look at reviews, read reviews, and get that social proof that they want. So let's start off by talking about Google My Business. Google My Business ranks in a couple of different ways, okay? The first one being proximity. Let's say that you need some coffee and you type in coffee near me or Starbucks near me. Google's gonna show you the one that is closest to you, not the one that is 2 hours away from you. This makes sense because they want to show you relevant searches for things that will most likely make your experience better. So think of it like this. If there are a lot of other dumpster rental companies between you and your customer, the chances of you showing up before them are slim to none. If you're in an area that is not very competitive and you're one of the only dumpster rental companies around, the chances of you ranking in a much bigger radius are much higher. So for example, if you're in a crowded city with lots of dumpster rental businesses, that listing might only rank for 5 miles. Think of it as a circle, as a radius around the house or the building that you decided to set up the Google My Business listing with. That is where the listing will rank. If you're in an area that is not very competitive and there's not a lot of people, your listing might rank for a radius of 30 plus miles. Now there are two different types of listings. There is a service area listing, meaning that you used your house as the address. And as you know, you cannot display an address when it is residential space. So they make you hide the address and set it up as a service area business. Now, if you have a yard where you keep your dumpsters or you have commercial space or a warehouse, you're actually allowed to display the address of the business. This means that when you look up a business on Google, it will actually show up as a red dot on the map, as well as it will show up on Google where you're actually physically located. Some people don't like this, but I'm telling you right now, businesses that display an address rank much better than service area businesses. Google tells you not to do this unless you have commercial space. I know a lot of guys who will set up their house address, like the residential home, as an actual address that shows up on Google. And I'm telling you, you could be suspended at any moment. I know that a lot of people go years without being suspended, and then out of nowhere, they get a suspension, and that is probably the 90% of the time why they get suspended is because they're displaying an address that they shouldn't be displaying. If that is your situation right now, you're displaying your home address, I would not suggest changing it until you face a suspension. But if you have the chance of setting up a new business right now, think of the two reasons why you would do it and why you wouldn't. You haven't set up a Google My Business listing yet, and the only address you have is your home. Please hide the address, set it up as a service area. Or if you have the potential to get a commercial space, maybe you know somebody with commercial space, you know somebody that can let you borrow that address, or you're thinking of renting commercial space, this is actually one reason why you would do that. It would benefit your business a lot to actually show up on the maps with a physical address. The other two things that will really determine whether your listing ranks will be the name of the business. Make sure that you give the business name something with the words dumpster rental in them. Do not name it like Waste Solutions or Recycling Center, something like that. You need to have the words dumpster rentals in the name of the business for two reasons. One, you're trying to please Google, and Google's actually looking at the words that people are searching for, keywords, and you want those words to show up in the name. It will increase the amount of times that Google actually shows the listing just based on the name alone. Now, the other reason would be for click-through rate, right? If there are 3 businesses always being listed on the map pack, and 2 of them have names that did not display the words dumpster rentals, but one does, the one that has the words dumpster rentals in it will get a higher click-through rate. It's just psychology. When people go through and look at the names, they will actually remember what they typed in, and they will click on the one that most matches their search. So it's just basic information there. Make sure that you please use a name that is keyword rich, that uses the words dumpster rental. Don't get spammy with it. Like, let's for example that you have a business in Miami, right? And it's a dumpster rental business. Do not name it Dumpster Rentals Miami. It would help you, but you will get suspended immediately unless you can prove that that's the real name of the business and it's registered like that with the state of Florida. The third thing that we're going to talk about now is the categories. There are different business categories with Google, and if you choose the primary service category of waste management or garbage collection, you will not rank as high. If you choose the primary service category of dumpster rental, this is the category that Google has specifically made for dumpster rental businesses. Please choose this one. Google works off of primary service categories, secondaries, and then they give you a bunch of other ones that you can add, but it mainly pulls off of the main one, which is the first category. So make sure that you choose the first category the right way, which would be a dumpster rental service. Those are the big 3 things that will help your Google My Business listing rank and outperform the others. There are other things, like I said before, whether you have a website attached to it that is optimized, whether the listing is optimized fully. There are different things you could add there, like services as well as products. I would be really careful with adding products such as 15-yard dumpster rentals. Google doesn't consider those as actual products. They're actually services, and I have seen listings being suspended because they list their sizes as products. They do help you rank, but be really careful with doing this. The other thing I would say is make sure that you're consistently making posts on Google My Business. Google My Business works as a profile just like Facebook. If you're not posting, people that are your friends are not seeing your content pop up on their newsfeed. So Google looks at their listings and sees who's actually active with making posts for the community, and make sure that you're doing that and then linking them back to your website. Now we're going to get into the websites themselves and how these websites rank and what structure you need to have when having a website. The reason I'm doing this is because there are a lot of SEO companies out there that offer these services, but they never explain what actually goes into the sites and how they rank, and it is a good idea to understand at least the basics before you get into something like a contract with somebody for them doing your website or SEO or anything like that, and just things that you could be looking out for that will help protect your investment in the future. So we're going to dive into the computer and we're going to look at exactly the fundamentals of SEO and the things that you should know about it. So here we are on the computer screen, and I am using a tool here that lets me search like I'm in Seattle, Washington. It basically makes my location pop up in Seattle to give us a relevant result. So I typed in a search phrase that says dumpster rentals, Seattle, Washington, and if you didn't know, that specific search phrase is the one that's searched the most across the nation in terms of structure, okay? It's never going to be Seattle, Washington dumpster rentals. It's always going to be dumpster rentals, city, and then the state. That is the number one highest volume search phrase. So understand that when you're making a website, those are the types of searches that you want to bring in, the ones that have the highest search volume, and it's always structured that way. So when we do a search for that, we're going to see here the map listings that we talked about. We're going to see the red pins that we talked about that determine that they're an actual location that displays an address. Remember, we talked about how those businesses get priority in the map pack because they display an address, and you can see them here. They're actually listed as, locations. The first one we see here is waste management, and see how they have the words Seattle and then dumpster rental in the name of the Google My Business listing. They have a higher rank because they're waste management. They have a huge website. They have a really strong authority. Then we have discount dumpsters. Again, they use the words dumpsters in the name of the business. And then we have Dumpster Solutions Northwest. Here we can see what primary service category they're listed under. Waste management is listed under waste management services. Discount dumpster is listed under waste management services, and Dumpster Solutions Northwest is listed under dumpster rental service. So you can see here that those are the categories that we're talking about. Name of business, whether they display an address, and what service category they're in. So realistically, if you were going to enter this market, you can see here that there's a room to come into the market and take over, because these people are not utilizing all three categories that we talked about when ranking a business. So we would utilize an actual address. We would utilize the words dumpster rental in the name of the business, and then we would utilize the primary service category of dumpster rental services. All these businesses are doing at least two of these things, but not all three of those things. When we come down into the websites, we typed in the words dumpster rental, Seattle, Washington, and I want you to pay attention to this right here. These right here are titles of pages, okay? A lot of people get confused with websites, like an entire website versus pages of a website. And I've explained this in the past as a website is an entire book, and you can have pages within that book that talk about a specific subject. So when we look at a website like Budget Dumpster Rentals, I'll show you really quick. This is the website, and these right here are the menus. And I know this is really basic stuff for some of you, but a lot of you guys need this explanation so that you understand how SEO works. Websites are ranked off of individual pages when we do a search phrase, right? So like say for example, we typed in 10-yard dumpster rentals, Seattle, Washington. It wouldn't take us to the homepage of Budget Dumpsters. It'll take us to the specific page that they have written for 10-yard dumpsters. If it was made the right way, that's what page would be displayed to us. It wouldn't make us land on the homepage. It would make us land on the Budget Dumpsters page of that specific size. So watch this. This is the homepage of Budget Dumpsters, budgetdumpsters.com, right? You can see here they might have the homepage 1, homepage 2. You can see here with the URL, budgetdumpsters.com/homepage 1. I guess they have more than one. And when we do our search for dumpster rental Seattle, Washington, and we click on this one, it takes us to Budget Dumpsters /Seattle, Washington, dumpster rentals, yada, yada, yada. So this took us to this specific page. We never landed on the home page, and that's something that a lot of you guys will freak out about. You'll make a website and you'll think that home page is the most important one, and that needs to display all the information because that's where everybody's going to land. That's not where everybody lands. If it's made the right way, they're going to land on the specific page of your site that specifically talks about that topic. Google is looking at the website as individual pages, and it's ranking them based on those pages, how they're written. So Budget Dumpsters as a whole, they are very, very strong. They rank in almost every single city at the very top, and that is because they spend a lot of money on their website. Like a very, very large amount of money. I'm going to show you really quick what their numbers look like. So here we can see budgetdumpsters.com. The strength of their website is a 72, which is very high. Websites are ranked from 1 to 100. Something like 100 would be like Facebook or Google. They would be very, very strong. So 72 is a very strong website. You can see here their traffic is 210,000 visitors per month, and that is valued at $355,000 per month in visitors. That's based off of Google's PPC, how much an average cost per click. I think those numbers are skewed. I think it's much higher than that. They get a lot of searches and a lot of traffic coming to their website. So let's go back a second, and I want to show you a couple things. We were talking about this right here being a title. So when we're building websites, we're structuring a couple of things for the website to actually rank. One thing that we're doing is we're giving every page a title of what we want to show up for. We talked about the biggest search phrase in any city is dumpster rental Seattle, Washington. They gave their page a title of dumpster rentals in Seattle, Washington. It's very, very, very close to this, okay? And it's showing us that the pages that rank the best are the ones that are titled that. And look, Junking also did the same thing, and they're also a multi-million dollar business. Junking spends like $2 million a month on their SEO for their website. And they titled theirs exactly or almost exactly the same way to rank for this search phrase. The other thing I want you to look at is these words that we typed in. Watch what happens in the search phrase down here. You can see here that this is called a meta description. The meta description that you give each page, it's a longer description that you want to tell people what this page is about, right? It gives us a title and then it gives us an area to add a description. Look what Google did. They highlighted in bold the words dumpster rentals in Seattle. It's telling us, hey, you looked for this phrase, so we're highlighting these in bold because they match the search you made. You can see here Junking used the words dumpster rental. You can see here that Waste Management used dumpster rental, and then Seattle, Washington, and it's doing this everywhere. It's just highlighting all the words that we search for on all these results. So title is really important for each site. Meta description is really important for each site. Now we're going to go into the actual website and look at a couple of other things. If we open this page, I'm going to show you another spot where you can actually see the title. The titles are always up here on the top of this little thing right here. If you hover over it, it'll show you the title. And then the next thing that is the most important thing on a site is called an H1 tag. So there's all this writing on a website, and to the naked eye, it looks just like writing, right? Well, writing is classified on websites as different things. There's paragraph text, and then there's H text, which is header text. So usually these big bold text, right? And they classify them in H1 all the way down to like H6. And the rule of thumb is you can only have one H1 tag per page on a website. And that's basically telling Google, out of all the writing on this page, right, there could be 10,000 words. This is the phrase that I want this website to rank for, this specific page. I want this specific page to show up when somebody types in this search phrase. So what do? You take the highest search volume phrase in your local area and you make that the H1 tag. And right here, if we highlight this phrase and then we right click and hit inspect, it'll bring up dev mode, and you can see here there's a bracket that says H1, and then there's another one here that closes the bracket in H1, and it's telling us that this right here is what they use as their H1 tag for this specific page on this website. And I'm telling you, it's just a recipe that people have to follow, and when they follow this recipe, that's how they win, okay? Now, they could have other H tags like H2. We'll see if this is an H2 tag or not. Yeah, so right here, H2, this is what they're using as an H2 tag. This is like a secondary phrase, and you can have more than one H2 tag. You can have multiple H3, H4. When you have a website that doesn't have a high domain rank authority or as much money being pumped into the site, you cannot make mistakes. These people have so much money invested into this site and they have such high authority that even if they made mistakes, they could still outrank you. And so when it comes to newer local companies that are having to come up and compete against people like them, you have no room for error. And that's something that happens a lot in this industry is people will come into the industry and they'll spend a lot of money on equipment, and then when it comes to their website, they don't want to invest into a website because they don't see the need to, right? They just don't see the benefit of it. But when you're competing against big brands like this that are spending millions of dollars, you need to play on their level, and you need to have a professional help you if you don't understand how this stuff works, because this is where 80% of the money is. I'm going to tell you something that most people are not going to tell you, and I don't even know why I'm saying this, but I feel like a lot of guys need to know this. And it comes to this Google My Business thing, okay? The people in your area that you see that are succeeding really, really well with this business, that have 100 plus dumpsters, 200 plus dumpsters, and I know for a fact, because I help a lot of people do this, and this is the determining factor between a guy with 30 dumpsters and a guy with 200 dumpsters, okay? Is how many properties they have on Google My Business, how many websites they have. I want you to think of this marketing thing and this Google thing as playing a game of Monopoly. What happens when you own most of the properties on Monopoly? You end up winning the game, okay? You're the one that's taking over the city and winning the game. If these listings have a service area that they'll most likely rank for of 5 miles to 30 miles, but your service area is much larger and there are a lot of competitors within your area, how do you show up multiple times on this map around the city, on all parts of the city? The solution is having more than one listing. The solution is making it look like your company has multiple locations. Now, I'm getting you to think about this, and you're probably thinking about all the legal things and all the things you have to do. There are ways around this, is what I'm telling you. Legally, you can do this, and there are ways around it. It's just very difficult to do, and it takes a lot of time and effort. But that is the difference between the guy that has 30 dumpsters and 200 dumpsters. And nobody's ever going to tell you this. These guys don't come out and tell you that they have 5 or 6 locations. When I was in the junk removal space and dumpster rental space, at one point I had 11 listings. And this is how I showed up everywhere. And that is the secret. You create a brand that displays on Google My Business, on the website. It's very strong. Once you've dialed that one in, you build a second one, and you build a third one, and you don't stop. That is how you take over an entire city. Do with that what you will. If you ever feel like you want to talk more about this, I've piqued your interest, and this is something that you really want to take seriously and grow your dumpster rental business to multiple hundreds of dumpsters, I'm always here for a consultation if you need help. My phone number is 503-914-7250. You can call or text me anytime. My website is Junkremovalmoney.com. I'll leave a link below too. You can either call me or text me anytime, or you can set up a consultation call. I don't ever charge for a phone call. We can get on a phone call. There'll be a link down below on how to schedule a call with me. And I look forward to hearing from you if you're serious about growing your business. I hope this information was helpful. Like I said, if you need any other help understanding these things, you can reach out. If there's anything you're confused about, you can also leave a message or a comment down below. I try to respond to all my comments. And as always, guys, I appreciate you for watching. And leave a like and a comment. And I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.